Good morning. I've got two hands here. Both hands I have pocket sevens. So pocket sevens on the button. I'll say these middle pocket pairs can be difficult to play. Uh, if you call pre-flop bets with them, pre-flop raises, you often play them as set mining opportunities. But I do think there are opportunities when we could be raising them, even though we don't hit the flop, even though we don't hit our trips. So we're going to look at pocket sevens today when we're on the button. So this is a 5NL game, full ring. We have under the gun raises and it's to us. So he is 20% 11 out of 45 hands. His early position stats is basically 18% raise first in, or 17% raise first in. So he's going to be fairly tight. We'll probably say, eights plus. We'll do ace jack suited, ace king, ace queen. We'll have to add some more of these. We have very few hands. So he's played 2 out of 18, and it's possible he's had hands like this. In those, 18 hands, I think we said, for raise first in from early position. Especially under the gun, probably going to be tighter. It could be questionable if he has king jack suited in there, or king queen offsuit. But I think that's a suitable hand. It's to us, 7 clubs, 7 of hearts. It's looking like we could be heads up. We'll be on the button. We'll have position. When we look at the other two players behind us, it's few number of hands, but right now it doesn't look like they're overly loose. Even if I just call here and we get both of them to call behind, I'm going to be okay with that, because with pocket sevens, we're kind of hoping that we hit a set and then can take a stack from, let's say, ace king, ace queen, or maybe even aces and kings when they just flop, their overpair. So I called. I think that's reasonable. And the big blind calls. So the big blind calls. We don't know much about him. It's only 2 more to call. So what we can do is just kind of give him a range that I think other big blinds would play. We have 11 hands. I think we'll probably give him most of these offsuit aces. Let's go down to ace 5. We'll give him broadways. We'll give him suited connectors, suited one gappers. I may have suited kings as well. We'll leave them out because I think out of 11 hands, he should have played at least once. One time, maybe 2 times. If he played 2 or 3 times in those 10 hands, I'd probably include suited kings, but I think we'll keep that range. So 3-way, we see ace of diamonds, 3 of diamonds, 8 of clubs. So this is going to hit his top pair hand 32% of the time, based on those aces, all the aces that he has there. This player is going to hit it too. I mean, he's definitely stronger. He probably has the strongest range out of everyone, and he has the nut advantage. So you can see that his overall range distribution, he's looking at over 50%, almost 60% of the time. So I guess that is 60% of the time he'll have at least a pair. So top pair or pocket pair below top pair. He's got a pretty solid range. Hands that miss are going to be these unpaired. So king, queen, jack, jack 10, 10, 9. Those are going to be the hands that miss. So what happens is they both check. I'm okay. I think he's going to check probably everything. We don't know, we don't know how often he donks, but I think he's going to be checking his entire range. And then this guy checks. And that is interesting, because I think a check with the diamonds out there, I don't think a set would check. I think, trip aces will probably bet. I'm going to say top pair will probably bet. Set may check, especially if they have a set of aces. They're probably going to think, hey, I hit it, no one else really has an ace, I'm just going to check, give a free card. I'm going to hope that a diamond doesn't get there, so maybe the set checks. But I think top pair is probably going to bet. Middle pair probably, could check. I would have expected the flush draw to check too. So I think his range is really setting up to be, fairly weak overall, so 35%. So I think this is a good opportunity. Based on our hands, we could have these suited aces. We can have some suited cards. We could have the 8. I think this, we could have stabbed in a 3-way pot now to go ahead and bet, and probably bet about 6 big blinds, so about 2/3 pot. If we get called, we can probably be done with the hand, because there's going to be a high likelihood that we have that one of these players has that ace. If I was to guess who had it, it'd be this guy. So I bet, I think what he's going to definitely call, probably with, pocket pair below top pair, nines to kings. Probably call the middle pair. I think most people will call at least once. Flush draw, maybe the gut shot, maybe once. Player dependent. So I think they're calling 57.4%, which means they're folding 40-some%. So that's why I think, betting 2/3 to get those folds is okay. Now, to have both of them to fold, it's going to be not quite up to 40%. So if we say it's 43% here, 0.43, and this player is going to be only calling with 35.5%. Actually, if we bet, I don't see him calling really anything. Maybe king queen, if that. I think it's going to be a set, so he's folding 95% of the time. All right, so 0.43 times 0.95. We're getting folds at 41%, but if he's going to be a little bit looser in his calls, so maybe if he calls these pocket pair below top pair, which I kind of think he would have c-bet, maybe not, then, he's basically sets, and pocket pair below top pair is what he's going to call. So that's 33.65%. So 0.43 times 0.65, I'm generating folds almost 28% of the time. And if they don't fold now, then they could fold, to that second bet on a blank turn card. So I missed the bet. So we've got 100% of the range going all the way. Yeah, I'm going to be behind their ranges, and that's why I think that the flop, I think we could have bet. If we get check raise, we just fold. Turn is a 2 of hearts, and I think that's a great card where that would have allowed us to double barrel and I think fold out all of those kings to nines hands. Villain checks, villain 14 checks. Still, when we said he checked, I think this guy checks 100% of his range. This guy, we have that range. That range continues. And then the 2 of hearts hits. Let's get there. All right, and then he chose to check again. Now I think the sets are going to bet. And pocket pair below top pair could probably check again. If he checked once, he might check again, just afraid that someone has the ace. I mean, we don't. When we look at his stats, 21-11, it looks like he's kind of tightish, passive-ish. It's only out of 45 hands. Called 2 bets 24% of the time. I think that seems to be more passive-ish than anything. So maybe he checks with those pocket pairs below top pairs, but flush draw, no made hands, and so forth. He's checking that again. And now that they both checked, I think, our sevens are looking better. We missed the flop bet. I do think we should bet the turn now. We should have bet the flop, but now if more than anything we could fire again with the turn, because now it's starting to suggest that okay, we have at least a pair, or maybe we've picked up some sort of draw and see what happens. River is 2 of spades. And I'd say villain 13 probably would have checked it. Again, out of position. So villain checks. Villain 14 bets half pot. What is he going to bet here on that 2 of hearts? Well, pocket pair below top pair. That's about the best he can do. I don't know if he's going to bet no made hand. Maybe he's going to bet with the king. I mean, if he does that, we're basically 51% versus 48%. So half the time he's bluffing, half the time he's not. It's kind of a coin flip. We're getting the equity that we need to call here. Now, is it against, what about this guy? Well, if he calls, I think with the bet, he's going to probably call with the top pair, with the aces, and probably fold everything else. Especially if I call, he's probably going to fold everything else. So he's going to be folding 60% of the time, continuing with 40%. And when he does continue, we'll be behind. So the question is, what should we do? I think we've played this just so poorly that I hate to fold, but I almost feel like that's the right decision, that we should have folded. I didn't. I called. And this guy folds, so I don't think he had anything. He had one of those no made hands, and we see what's on the river, and he shows jacks. So he did have one of those pocket pair below top pairs, and that's interesting because I don't really think he would have folded on the flop, but I think he would have folded to that turn bet, and that too was a good card for that turn, for another bet on the turn. So I think we definitely misplayed this hand, especially on the river. I mean, there's really, we're getting the odds if he's going to do it with no made hand, but I don't think many people do it with no made hand. And even if we take out, so only let him do it with the king. We've changed. Now it's 60-40, 60% likely that he has top pair below top pair, 40% the no made hand. We were still getting the equity needed to call, but based on overall play, I think he had pocket pair under the ace. He was scared of it. We should have bet the flop, probably picked it up, but if not, we could have fired the turn again and had a high degree of success. All right, this is hand number 1. Let me clear out everything and get hand number 2. All right, as promised, pocket sevens. This is a 10 NL game, full ring. I am on the button again. So the cutoff raises to 4. I have about 100 hands on him, 22% VPIP, 13% raise. He's in the cutoff. His raise first in goes up, but a smaller number of hands. So I think this guy's might be playing position a little bit. Definitely he's tightest early position, and then he loosens up some. So I think he's going to have a decent range, but probably not a crazy range. So we're going to give him all the suited aces. Probably ace 10. I think a lot of in the cutoff, king jack, queen jack off is probably in their pre-flop raising range. I think we've got suited connectors, suited one gappers maybe, definitely suited aces. That's at 21.3%. That's probably reasonable to assume for cutoff raising first in. We've got 7 of clubs, 7 of spades. Against that range, we're going to be doing okay. Now the question is, should we call or should we raise? Well, let's look at the players behind us. Both of them look to be tight. Called to call 2-bets 10% for the big blind, call 2-bets is 8% for the small blind. If we call this 4 big blind bet, it's probably more likely that both of them fold than anything. Their fold to steals are in the 80s. Their 3-bet steals, this is 4%, this is 9%. I don't think if I call that this guy's going to try to steal. 3-bet stats, 6% and 5%. They're not, super low. I don't think they're super high. I think it's going to be less likely that they're 3-betting as a bluff. 3-bet bluff squeezing. I think calling's okay. I also think raising it is okay. Taking initiative with this hand, trying to force these players out. Definitely, I think if we raise, he's going to fold out a sizable chunk of his range. I think maybe if we were deeper, if we were playing with like 150 to 200, I think calling is probably preferred. Because what we're doing now is hoping that we spike trips and can bust them for that big stack. I think either play is okay, though. So I think calling's okay because I don't expect us to go multi-way very often. So I did call. Both of the blinds folded, and we see a flop. So with 3 diamonds, 3 and 4 of clubs. So we are now have an overpair. We could have backdoor straight draw with the 5-6, and villain 6 bets, basically 2/3 pot. What is he going to bet 2/3 pot with? I have his C betting flop 100%. So 2 out of 2 when he's in position, 2 out of 2 when he's out of position. He's out of position here, so I think he's going to bet, and then only 50% on the turn, and when he gets to the river, it's basically 0 out of 1. So I do think he's going to be betting a large percentage of the time. This is a board that isn't going to hit pre-flop caller's range, so he's probably going to c-bet his entire range here into me. And is that sizing appropriate? Yeah, I think so. Again, based on my calling range, do I have a 3 in there? Do I have a 4? Maybe I've got ace-3 suited, maybe ace-4 suited. But do I have 3-4? No, unlikely. Do I have 2-5? Unlikely. Do I have 5-6? Yeah, I could have a draw. I could have a club flush draw. So definitely I could call. I think if I raise, I'm going to fold out hands that I clearly beat. However, with the raise, I'm going to be buying equity. So I think this could be a time where instead of playing it passively, I'd take initiative and raise. If I raise, I think he is going to call the overpairs, maybe call the top pairs, but I think he's going to fold weak pairs, probably ace high, no made hand. I think he's going to call quads, although with quads I think he might end up going a little bit, might have bet a little bit lower. Same thing with full house and 3 of a kind, may have been a little bit lower. Instead of 2/3, could have just been half pot. Definitely with full house and quads. Overpair is going to call, top pair is going to call. Overpair may actually raise, so if I raise, he might actually 3-bet me, and then we could probably fold. Would a flush draw 3-bet? I think flush draw is going to bet. Would he 3-bet my raise? That maybe not. A lot of players here. If we were short, yeah, he could 3-bet all in with that ace of clubs, nut flush draw. But I think with the deeper stacks, they're probably not going to do that. So I think when we look at hands that would at least call, we're dealing with 27% continuance range. I think that's pretty good because we're buying a lot of equity. We're getting a lot of hands that could catch, an 8 or a 10 or a jack, that could catch on the turn and beat us on the next card. So I think this should be a spot where we raise and be happy if we win the pot. If we win the 15 big blinds that are currently in the pot. I didn't do that. I just called, and 7 of hearts turn. So that's actually really good for us. I think now that if he has pocket pair, an over pair, we just, took it, took the lead. So he bets now 15, 2/3 again. Now I think he is changing his hand. So I don't think he's going to be doing it with his entire range here. And I don't think he's going to do it with a weak pair. I think the middle pair, 5-4, I think 6-4, 5-4, with those straight possibilities. I don't think ace-4 is going to bet. Pocket pair below top pair 5 and 6 could still bet 2/3. I mean, they have a gut shot, although probably not. Actually, I'm going to take the middle pair, pocket pair out. Top pair now. No, I think it's going to be the over pair, 3 of kind straights. I think they're going to continue to bet. And, if we paid attention to bet sizing, again, I don't think quads in a full house were going to bet that large. So I'm going to take those out, which means they're no longer in the range. Now, he just hit a straight, and I think he's still going to bet 2/3, just because he doesn't want that flush draw to get there. So at this range, I think he's firing again at almost 20%, and we are way ahead. I do think now, I don't think we can raise. I think we can just call, because if we raise, it's going to give him a reason to fold. He's going to become suspicious that we have a 3, maybe suspicious that we have 5-6. So I just called. Queen of spades hits. That doesn't help, and I don't think that really helps his range. Yeah, he could have pocket queens, but again, it's 3 combos out there. His pot's 51.5, and now he bets half pot. I think instead of betting 2/3, 2/3, I think at this point, I think if he had a queen, or if he had queens, he was going to bet 2/3 pot or pot, try to get it all in. With a full house. So I think I'm going to discount full house. I think the straight, maybe. 3 of a kind, ace-3, I think is maybe slowing down. But I think the straight's going to probably do 2/3 pot again, just kind of like a full house. 3 of a kind. It's probably going to size down. The overpair is going to size down. The pocket pair below top pair is going to size down. I think he's doing that just to try to protect his hand. He's afraid that since we've called everything, that maybe that queen hit. I think this pocket pair below the top pair is the most likely candidate. So 53.3%. And same thing, the overpair. I kind of think he would have bet a little bit larger with the overpair, but he could easily have just sized down, because again, he's scared of the street. So something like that, we're going to be way ahead of him. There's no reason for us to fold this hand. Could we raise? So if we look at the hands, if we raise, I think he's just going to dump his overpair, pocket pair below top pair. I think he might call 3 of a kind. That's 4%. But I think all the single pairs he'll probably just fold, so I don't think we can profitably raise here. I did raise, which, I've got full house, so I guess my thought was if he's going to call something, might as well charge him to call, maybe that 3 of a kind. And he calls, so unless he thinks I'm bluffing, the only hands I think he's going to be doing that with, maybe, are the overpair and the 3 of a kind. That he'll give me credit for the queen. So 31%. And we see the showdown, and he himself had the queen jack. So now things start to make a little bit of sense. So did I have queen jack at all in here? Well, I started with his range. Let's take out queen. But I basically took it out on the turn. I didn't think he would be able to do it. So knowing that, Now he's basically going to have, you know, his no-made hands, all of that. Queen of spades hits, and now with sizing down, now I think you can see the top pair hands maybe sizing down because, you know, he finally caught top pair and now he's hoping for a call. And the question is, could we get value from that? I would still be skeptical whether he would actually call, but yeah, if there's a chance that he could call, you know, ace queen, king queen, queen jack, then yeah, I think shoving would be okay. All right, so we didn't really get this hand. I didn't think he would fire a second barrel with air again. So what I think we should probably do is take a note. Say double barrel with overcards. And emphasize that it wasn't ace X. So that way, if we're in the same situation, actually, we'll specify sizing with overcards, not ace A. And then bet half pot on river top pair. So it kind of gives us a better idea of how he plays. When he hits, he'll size down and hope to get called at that point. So 2/3 could be betting to try to get a fold. Half pot is betting to get a call. All right, look tomorrow for a few more hands.